Welcome to another episode of the CPG Guys podcast. Our co-hosts, Sri Rajagopalan and Peter V.S. Bond, explore how brands and retailers engage with consumers online, in-store, and everywhere in between. And now, here are Sri and Peter.
Hello and welcome everyone to this episode of the CPG Guys. I'm Sri, one of the CPG Guys, and joined by my side is my co-host Peter Bond, which we'll get to in 1 second. But reminder for everyone, you can find all our content on cpgguys.com. That easy, cpgguys.com. And of course, we shape the show for you based on the audience that you want on the show, as well as the content you want to hear. And the best way to tell us what you want is simply go to ratethispodcast.com/cpgguys. Again, ratethispodcast.com/cpgguys. Another reminder that we decided to make Q1 2021 Founders Quarter, not Founders Month in January, Peter. And we've had several founders here, and we try to put them in the second half of the week, either on a Wednesday or a Thursday or a Friday. So be sure to check on our LinkedIn page, CPG Guys, to find our conversations with founders of various products, topics, etc. And we have one such interesting founder today. But first of all, Mr. Bond, CRM guy, loyalty guy, consumer insights, consumer centricity. Welcome to my co-host, Mr. Bond, the 007.
Sri, you are the Ford to my Barra, the Koufax to my Roseboro, the Gibson to my McCarver. We throw a hell of a game together. Always glad to join you on the journey, my friend.
Thank you, Peter. It's been a pleasure. I'd love to welcome our guest for this episode, a friend to the show, Melissa Burdick, the founder of Pacvue Digital. Melissa, welcome. Love for you to tell the audience what you do for Pacvue.
Thanks, guys, for having me. Can I be a CPG gal, or am I still a CPG guy?
You can be whatever you want on this show.
Okay. That's awesome.
You get to choose between gal, girl, woman, lady.
Okay.
In fact, you can be binary. You can do anything. We check off any box that anyone wants. We're totally inclusive here.
I love it.
And I think this episode's theme we already landed before this recording is cyborgs. You can be one of those two.
Cyborgs are good. Yeah, we like cyborgs.
I've been warned not to move too much, so that's kind of hard for me. I'll try to be static.
Okay.
It's not my personality. I'll try. Hey everyone, I'm Melissa Burdick, co-founder of Pacvue. We're a marketing automation software as a service platform for e-commerce and advertising. We are in the center of retail media. We've adopted all of these retailer platforms: Amazon, Walmart, Instacart, Criteo, which is Target, and Sam's Club, and just a very long list, Microsoft Shopping, eBay. And so our value prop is that we unify retail media. We have really advanced reporting that unifies all of these platforms. You can see all your KPIs and metrics, in addition to performing automated actions within advertising. So you have very efficient advertising spends. I was going to say, just prior to Pacvue, I spent 10 years at Amazon, where I helped launch the consumables business and advertising businesses. So
just as you mentioned Amazon, my Echo device chimed to let me know a package had been delivered. So it seems like perfect timing. But before Sri jumps further, Melissa, our audience oftentimes likes to multitask and they want to learn a little bit more while they're listening. Where do people go on the web to find your business?
www.pacvue.com.
All right, we'll put it in the liner notes.
Thank you. Yeah. Or you can find us on LinkedIn as well.
And it's PACVUE, not PACKVUE, just to clarify again, www.pacvue.com. Peter, what's my favorite topic?
Well, let's see. Key lime pie, no. Automobile parts, no. Oh, it's retail media. Retail, you like that, don't you?
And what did Melissa say?
She says she's got a platform that helps brands connect to lots of different retail platforms.
This is going to be one of our best episodes ever.
Ever!
Why don't we kick right into it?
Superstar!
So, Melissa, obviously your journey started at T-Mobile. Then you were at Mars, the famous Mars. And then you spent quite a while at Amazon. And you've done interesting roles such as category management, which means you've actually touched the consumables business as a retail merchandiser to some extent. And then you spent a few years on the advertising side, 3 years on the advertising side, and here you are, Pacvue Digital. Tell us about the journey. How did one lead to the other, and why Pacvue Digital?
Well, and you left one out, which was my first job out of school was Accenture. So I did the strategy consulting side, and actually, it was the original advertising effectiveness that was before e-commerce was a thing, back when I did that. But I think the net of it is Amazon. I like to say Amazon, my journey within e-commerce. It was back when e-commerce wasn't cool, and brands actually, especially in CPG space, didn't want to work with Amazon because it was too small. And so really I was a pioneer within e-commerce at Amazon, trying to figure out how you ship tubes of toothpaste properly across the internet. And then went into, before advertising was a thing, Unilever actually was one of my brands that I managed and helped launch on Amazon retail side. And they came to me and said, hey, we want to play the Dove Super Bowl commercial on your homepage. And that was before Amazon had an advertising offering. So I sold them a spot for a very cheap price, pointed to their products, and everything was out of stock. But it was a big win and kind of the start of this advertising offering on Amazon. Fast forward to where we are in Pacvue, again, having been a pioneer at Amazon and working within the ad space, I had access to the API in beta and really wanted to do my own thing. I met my partner who was able to bring to the table the ad tech expertise and development piece. And so we kind of combined his development and R&D expertise and my business side, and we created Pacvue right when all the APIs were just starting, and Amazon was the first to kind of create a self-service ad platform, and now everyone has kind of followed suit. And so really it was the understanding that you need technology to scale this business and advertising. We built this platform.
Melissa, you had me at API. You had me at API.
What is API, Peter? Appy?
Appy? I don't know. Application.
Is that a brand that sells beverages?
Yeah, something like that.
There used to be one in India called Appy, which would sell apple juice.
Mm-hmm. Anyhow, so Melissa, we're an educational podcast. We like to talk about the guts of how things get done. So to that end, why don't you explain to our audience what Pacvue's space is, who are your customers, and then within your customers, who are typically the users, and then how retailers benefit from your solution in connecting brands to their platforms?
Mm-hmm. Great questions. So Pacvue API is essentially programmatic access to data. So Pacvue is a partner of these retailers. So we've partnered with, and we are part of the partner programs of Amazon, Walmart. Walmart calls their program WAP, Walmart Advertising Partner. They have and Instacart is a partner, and so essentially we partner with these retailer platforms. We access their API, they give us access, and we build tools on top of their data, essentially. So instead of having to log into Amazon, Walmart, Instacart, Criteo, all of these different disparate UIs, which you can do, you have one screen to log into, which is Pacvue. You can see all your data and reporting in one place, and then you can do your campaign management all on the Pacvue platform. And so it's a really powerful kind of piece, especially when you're a brand and you have a little bit of ad spend on all these different platforms and a lot on Amazon. Just the ease of the work stream is a lot better for people. The ability to see all the data in one place is huge. Just to unify all this, KPIs and metrics and understand what's your ROAS across Amazon, Walmart, Instacart, how many impressions am I getting? What's my share of voice on all of these platforms? So that's what the Pacvue platform does. It sits on top of all these retailers and enables brands and agencies, and those are and sellers. So who is our partner? It's all of these people. It's anyone who is performing advertising. So whether it's a holding agency like a WPP or Publicis, whether it's a niche agency like a Beekeeper Marketing or Bobsled Marketing, or whether it's a brand directly like RB is a client, whoever is kind of actioning data and doing the advertising, but also from a reporting, component, brands are also able to access their dashboard and see their data regardless of who's practicing it.
So you're not a PIM.
Nope.
Because they deliver content to product pages, but you do have content assets that contribute to advertising campaigns, yes?
Mm-hmm. So Salsify, like a lot of brands, when they're looking at their suite of technology that they're using, they might use us and they will use Salsify, for example, as their PIM. So we're part of the tech stack within this landscape.
Melissa, so obviously the platform is all about advertising optimization at the end of the day and making a marketing mix work. Before I really take a deeper dive into the world of e-commerce and why retail media and what your platform offers is very important, I wanted to get to the mix question 1 second. So there's obviously the direct retail media aspects that the platform you've clearly identified does. What about Google Media or other forms of media like social, etc.?
Mm-hmm. So that's on our roadmap. We will probably tackle Google and Facebook later this year. Right now, we're really focused. We really started on e-commerce and really perfecting e-commerce landscape, but we likely will expand to those offerings later this year.
I'm going to come back to a deeper dive in D2C later, but let's just talk about, you use the word e-commerce. So let's talk about e-commerce, right? Obviously, e-commerce is not a new word. Amazon was a pioneer, but every retailer these days has e-commerce. They could be click and collect and a plethora of ways how e-commerce enablement takes place. One thing's clear: e-commerce is now in the strap plans of most CPG brands. Mm-hmm. What's your opinion, Melissa? Is it non-negotiable? Is it more the muscle power of small brands, large brands, mid-tier brands, and then what is Pacvue doing if it's important to contribute to this journey? Obviously, it's media optimization. Tell us more about media optimization as well.
Yeah. So to answer your question, it's critical. It's table stakes now to have an e-commerce aspect. I was actually just talking to a very large brand this morning, and they said that Amazon will be their largest partner. I mean, out of everyone, like brick and mortar too. I was just shocked to hear that, that it will be their biggest partner. So, I think COVID, as you guys probably agree, has accelerated e-commerce sales. And, really you can't spend 18 months with new behaviors and not have these stick. And so there's new cohorts like the, older generation that maybe weren't as mature in e-commerce have been forced to use e-commerce. And so there's just a lot of opportunity within this space to be able to.
Older generation people, Peter, I wonder if you and I, she's bucketing you and me in there.
That's Peter.
I can't hear you. What?
Peter, do you have e-commerce? Do you have a computer?
I have a flip phone. It's really nice. It's called the Razor. It's cutting edge. It's Razor.
My daughter just gave me this thing. It's called a mouse.
Where's the tail?
I don't know. It's cut off.
You talked to us a little bit about some of the retail platforms that your solution can connect into, and you talked about optimization. What about planning? How is your platform able to help? And I'm assuming your brand clients that are selling through these different either marketplaces or 1P into their warehouses, that planning is also going to be critically important from an advertising perspective. What do you guys do in that space for your clients?
If I may also request, Melissa, before you get into the planning aspects, if you could also, for the benefit of our audience, just again mention all the various retailers that you are partners of and one can actually work with on the Pacvue platform.
Yeah, absolutely. So the partners are Amazon, Walmart, Instacart, Criteo, which Criteo then encompasses Target, Costco, CVS, Fresh Direct, Sam's Club, Staples, Macy's, Meijer, Ulta, Walmart Canada. That's
Wow.
pretty Instacart, and then Instacart aggregates, a lot of Costco, even Best Buy.
Yeah, we had Josh Ryder, the head of brand partnerships at Instacart, on early in the podcast, and he was introducing us to their ad platform. So it hardly a week goes by that we don't see another blockbuster brick and mortar retailer joining their marketplace. And what I hear from you, Melissa, is every time they do, it means that your platform can help the brand get their advertising onto Instacart at those retailers if their products are carried there.
Exactly. And then just to add to the list, we also have Microsoft Shopping and eBay. And then we will launch shortly Amazon DSP. So we have self-service ad tools that will launch for Amazon DSP in addition to Amazon Search. Essentially, if it's not a self-serve ad platform like Amazon and Walmart, these retailers you can access through, like a Criteo and Instacart. But it does seem like retail media is the thing this year is, becoming bigger and bigger, where essentially it's a way to pay to page one and into the hearts of consumers.
So back to my original question about the planning aspect. What does your platform do to help brands beyond just optimize, but actually plan out their media spending?
So let me start with the fact that the Amazon platform is the most mature, and we have the most data available through Amazon. We're hoping that more and more retailers will follow suit, but we do have, e-commerce data through Amazon, such as inventory and sales data. So we're able to integrate that into our tools and automation. So we can say things like, and this is not specifically planning, but it's more things around, hey, I only want to advertise items that have 6 weeks of cover, things like that. So you can actually automate decisions around inventory and sales. From a planning aspect, it's more around budget planning. So we have some tools that help people understand, if I spend this much money, what will my return be? How much money should I be spending? So we have budget planning tools. We are, there is this whole, kind of area around inventory forecasting and management. So we will continue to expand into these e-commerce planning tools as well. But we've really started on this advertising side. The other issue with, platforms is just the access to data, inventory and sales data. Amazon's the most robust, but not so much the case. There's no API access to some of that data set. So, we're hoping, and especially the brand community that's all listening to this podcast can tell the retailers how important it is to have, programmatic access to this data so that we can action it and create tools.
So Melissa, a couple things came up from what you just mentioned. One is we talked planning very briefly. Is the platform a mix, kind of a retail media mix management and optimization platform, or can you actually do media buying and run campaigns directly from the platform into, say, an Amazon or any other retail ecosystem? Or is it one way where you feed the data for continuous optimization and analysis purposes?
Yeah, so we're a campaign management platform. So we, you can do all your paid search bidding on our platform, and that feeds directly into Amazon, Walmart, and other platforms. DSP is another one that you can do campaign management and optimization for Amazon as well. In terms of your other question, I think that's a little bit more around like sales attribution and media mix modeling. Not yet. That is like the gold, North Star that people are still leveraging analytics around MMM models that they're accessing and then actioning. But really our platform is robust reporting, campaign optimization and automation, and leveraging all this e-commerce and advertising data.
And are you able to share, Melissa, again, if you are able to, how many different brands are currently in the system and being optimized through the system? Or a relative scale of how large Pacvue's optimization ecosystem is?
We have like 5,000 or 6,000 profiles at this point and growing. We are, in one of Instacart's biggest partners in terms of client growth. So we have a considerable amount of clients, both within, whether it's a holding agency and their clients or brands directly. And then, of course, these niche agencies have hundreds of brands that they're working on. So we've got a considerable amount of data flowing through our tools. And so we do produce reports, that benchmark reports each quarter to help brands understand how they can compare against cohorts.
And do you actually have, obviously agencies would benefit significantly from a tool like this, but do you have self-service brands as well?
Absolutely. I mean, our tool is a self-service tool. So whether it's an agency adopting it as a self-serve tool, or whether it's a brand directly, as this whole question, in-source, outsource, whether you have a third party like an agency perform advertising for you, or whether you're bringing it in-house, that's, anybody can license and use Pacvue. Yeah.
And just appending to that, what I wanted to get to is the platform itself. I assume you're in touch with retailers all the time. And what's the continuous process of improvement of the platform itself? Like, how do you keep bringing value to your clients and brands and agencies?
Yeah, that's a really great question, because on one hand, it's, continued adoption of what the retailer's releasing themselves. So they have constant, and I haven't seen so much innovation from Amazon. I mean, every month it seems like there's a new beta that they're releasing. So one is, they have their own innovation and features that we've adopted. Two is they have special betas that we get access to early and be able to provide product feedback and integrate those. And then the third is our own product features and innovation. And so, the table stakes is just adopting what the retailers offer to everybody. And then we place on top of those things like day part bidding, or things like being able to bid based on share of voice, or being able to bid based on inventory. So additional features and functionality that you wouldn't have access to just by logging into the retailer platform. Our value proposition is, really, I call it, ninja savvy, the ability to be a ninja and beat your competition. That's right. By having better tools to be able to do that and scale your strategies. So, hey, I really want to do this, tell the machine, and the machine does it for you instead of having to manually do it.
Peter, do you like media ninjas?
I like any kind of ninja, Shri, just ninjas in general. I'm like teenage mutant ninjas that are in a turtle variety, but that's, anyhow, we'll move beyond that. Melissa, you mentioned earlier the fact that Amazon is a very mature e-commerce business. You have access to a tremendous amount of data. But beyond that, can you give us some highlights of major differences between, say, Amazon, Walmart, Instacart, from a targeting perspective, from a bidding perspective? I mean, what are some of the things that you think are the direction that, and maybe it's just holistically, what do you think are getting your clients excited about in terms of the capabilities across all the different retailers that you service?
That's a great question. The answer is pretty in the weeds, that, people may or may not care about unless you're an actual practitioner. But, things like Criteo is heading to more of a keyword based model, but right now it's not. So like everyone's kind of evolving their models to be, as advanced, I guess, as Amazon's is. Can you add negative keywords to your campaigns versus not? I mean, there's just like minutia details of each platform that you can and can't do, and that's why this is so hard to keep track of, because everyone's, constantly changing. Instacart's algorithm, is just week over week. They're just constantly changing what's available. So even just saying what's available today, I have to go check and understand what's the latest feature that they released or launched. But, I think that at the end of the day, it's things like Walmart just announced a partnership with Trade Desk for their DSP. So, things like this, like Amazon's DSP is pretty robust. It's all about first party data. Walmart's, kind of getting into that space. So I think that, if you look at Amazon, they've just been at this the longest amount of time, and they have a lot of these robust features. And then you look at, Instacart that's also launched recently. Another example is like first party bid auction versus second party bid auction. So Amazon and Instacart are second party bid auctions. Walmart's a first party bid auction. So those are like the nuances of each of these platforms as they kind of evolve. And that's why really trying to understand each of them it's news every day, basically.
Needless to say, as we said earlier, there are many platforms outside just retail media for the media landscape. But one of the areas that's upcoming on the retail merchandising side is D2C. D2C is in the news everywhere. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of brands have made their way in via D2C because of e-commerce. So what's your take on D2C? Is the platform going to be able to assist brands that are exclusively D2C or operate on multi-platforms like Amazon D2C and Walmart as an example? Like, how are you going to manage through that angle, which means all of a sudden D2C is the world where you also have to manage the Facebook and social campaigns as well, in addition to just in addition to Google.
Mm-hmm. That's a future state for sure for us. We mainly work within retail media platforms right now. DSP as a component of being able to work well with D2C, but otherwise, really, we're just focusing on these retailer platforms right now.
Do you forecast getting into some of these, or do you feel the focus of Pacvue is really retail media? Because the way I see it, Melissa, one of the Achilles heels for the agencies right now is their entire software and media management platforms is built around everything but retail media. And so they have to use two platforms. All of a sudden now they have the retail media optimization platform. They still have to use two. The winner here is the one that will create a unique everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, it's definitely on our roadmap this summer to integrate the social component of this. So we will have that holistic viewpoint. What I have noticed though is that typically it's different teams working on these platforms. So usually it's a different, e-commerce team working within e-commerce, a different team working within social. But needless to say, it's great to have one consistent platform that speaks all languages. So that is what we plan to have available.
We had on in January Rob Gonzalez from Salsify, and he was talking about the impact of retail media on brick and mortar sales. He gave an example of a client his that they were actually able to successfully measure that when they turned off Amazon advertising, that sales of the brand at CVS and physical stores had a significant downward effect. So my question to you is, talking about the funnel when it comes to media, the old word terms of CPM, CTR, CVR, what's new and what is really the focus or should be the focus of brands as they start thinking about this, and how at all do you help them measure the entire omni-channel effect of their business beyond just what happened at that particular platform? Do you even get into kind of that in-store measurement aspect?
Well, it is an interesting question. I think that we're still at early stages of the answer to that because people are still leveraging MMM models and studies to be able to assess the effectiveness of that. I believe Walmart has some offline online measurements in their API that we have access to, but those things are still very immature. And that is like such a huge story that Walmart has that I think will continue to play, which is that online offline impact that they have. But right now, that is, again, the sales attribution measurement of, and especially as new platforms come on like TikTok and other ones, how do you measure these things and what is the impact within brick and mortar? And actually the same I was just having a conversation with a brand today about they were seeing the effectiveness of their Amazon advertising in store, and it was significant. So, still, I think people are using MMM studies to be able to understand that. Not beef, but one of the things that I think we need to get really a lot faster with those studies, because, if you have a study and it was based on a year data, especially last year during COVID, it's really a hard thing to look at because things are changing so fast. So being able to have quicker studies, quicker access to this data to understand what's really going on is going to be important.
As a side note, Melissa, did you know that the CPG guys have a TikTok channel?
That's exciting.
I know. It really is. Sri and I are giddy about it. It's kind of crazy. But so then back to kind of the actual retail media for online. What are, I mentioned some of the old measurements. What are the ones that really count across your entire platform, or do they differ in any way from one platform to the other?
I definitely think that, there's cost per clicks and conversion rates and impression amounts and all that kind of stuff. And then there's a lot of nuances. And that's where the importance to be able to compare apples to apples, which is what's the attribution click model? Is it a 14-day? Is it a 7-day? And so you want to be able to set those attribution targets to be the same across all these retailer platforms so that you truly have an apples to apples comparison. And you have some flexibility within the API to make those selections to make sure that you're really looking at the same information. So, it's the standard measurement. The other things that we also add in are things like share of voice, both paid and organic. And those are really important in terms of understanding, when I am low with organic, do I want to pay to get to the top? And then how does that impact my organic ranking and things like that? And so those are really important metrics that we track as well on our platform to help people make, good advertising decisions.
Can you define what share of voice is for our audience?
Sure. It's essentially just what is your percentage of page one? So when you type in the word dog food, how many times do you show up on the first page of search results?
Great.
And I think it's very different across the board. And so as long as you're using the same tool or the same measurement across all of these things, then you're able to really understand your benchmark of where you are today and where you're going. And a lot of people also use market share as well. So what is your, percentage of sales that you're winning against your competitors?
When it comes to attribution, it's no secret, like this article after article published by the who's who in CPG on the fact that Amazon is as much a search platform as it is a conversion platform. It serves both purposes. And Amazon search does lead to lower stream funnel activity, aka conversion on other retail platforms. I feel, Melissa, at a minimum, attributing in-store and other media platforms, other retail success to Amazon is an absolute must-have. And I feel that attribution is like step one of a much larger attribution process to in-store and things of that nature. But it's sorely missing in the industry today from a retail media standpoint. And what ends up happening as a result is trying to defend a Amazon investment on media on the strength of an Amazon campaign alone is actually shortchanging the ecosystem overall. That said, I'd like to remind our audience that you can find all our content on cpgguys.com. That easy, cpgguys.com. And Q1 2021 was Founders Month, where we're featuring founders, whether they're product founders, whether they're service industry founders in the CPG industry, on Wednesdays, Thursdays, or Fridays of a given week, or maybe even a Monday of a given week. So do listen.
Don't forget retail founders, Sri. We had Chia, retail founders too.
My apologies. We have several retail founders actually as well. Actual retailers, they could be pure plays, etc. And the best way for you guys to tell us what you want to hear and who you'd like to hear be on the show and what sort of content is most meaningful is simply go to ratethispodcast.com/CPG guys. And we do have an Instagram channel, by the way. It's called CPG Guys. And every Monday, you can find Peter and my take on the four most newsworthy articles of the week that we filter through several to pick just our humble opinion on what's making waves for the previous week in the CPG and retail industry when it comes to digital transformation. Do listen in, Peter. A pleasure doing this with you week over week.
Shri, this was absolutely wonderful. Another great educational episode where we really understood what the capabilities are, how brands can use it, and how they can make better investments to grow on all of these retail platforms. So thanks to Melissa for that.
Melissa, thank you so much. And for the benefit of our audience, again, if they want to find you, what's the best way for them to find you?
Yeah, find me on LinkedIn for Melissa Burdick, and find Pacvue at www.pacvue.com.
Pacvue. I can't seem to say view. Pacvue.com. Folks,
just go to the liner notes of the episode, people. Just go to the liner notes. There'll be a hyperlink. Makes it real easy. Don't have to worry about Shri mispronouncing everything.
Folks, we'll see you next week on Monday.
Bye. The content in this podcast episode is provided for general informational purposes only. By listening to our episode, you understand that no information contained in this episode should be construed as advice from CPG Guys LLC or the individual author, hosts, or guests, nor is it intended to be a substitute for research on any subject matter. Reference to any specific product or entity does not constitute an endorsement or recommendation by CPG Guys LLC. The views expressed by guests are their own, and their appearance on the program does not imply an endorsement of them or any entity they represent. The views expressed by CPG Guys LLC do not represent the views of their employers or the entity they represent. CPG Guys LLC expressly disclaims any and all liability or responsibility for any direct, indirect, incidental, special, consequential, or other damages arising out of any individual's use of, reference to, or inability to use this podcast or the information we present in this podcast.